Howdy, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Yammy Noob. Now, if you're a new rider or an aspiring rider, you are probably consuming lots of content online. Not only that, you're probably being fed algorithmically generated content, probably by way of Instagram and TikTok, because that's where the vast majority of very young people consume all their content. And you might say, God damn, those motorcycles are dangerous, man. All I see is people crashing, people having road rage, people hating motorcyclists. And quite frankly, I am scared to go ride. Now, in today's video, I'm going to talk to you a little bit about social media with motorcycling versus reality, and why the world is typically a mirror, right? What you put out, you usually get in, or rather what you put in, you get out. Same difference, right? So, typically when you ride a motorcycle, you're going to encounter situations like this. You're just cruising along, everything's cool, there's no problems. I think it should come as no surprise that on algorithmically generated feeds, the most rage-inducing, the most cringe-inducing, the most laughter-inducing content typically bubbles its way to the top. And that's not really what reality is. The vast majority of the time you ride a motorcycle, depending on where you live, right? You might live in a place like India or Brazil, where traffic is just brutal all the time, and it's just crazy, and that's a whole different layer of riding. But, you know, here in North America, on a lot of these backcountry roads, suburban streets, even our urban traffic, unless you live in a place like LA or New York or Chicago, like properly urbanized areas, it tends to be pretty chill. You're not really going to encounter many of these insane situations that you see online. And the other thing I see a lot online is content from newer riders who go out and then they have an unexpected crash or they low side their bike. And you got to remember, the people posting a lot of content like that are very inexperienced, right? It is actually not that easy to just tuck the front end on your motorcycle or hit some gravel and slide out. Despite what you might think, because these things have two wheels and they tend to tip over from time to time, they're actually reasonably balanced. And a lot of the time, they want to keep going upright, you know? You see bikes on racetracks when the rider has ejected himself from the machine by way of a silly crash or something. A lot of the times they want to keep going straight, because once motorcycles are in motion, the three gyroscopes, the crankshaft, the front wheel, and the rear wheel, act as a stabilizing force, and the thing wants to keep going until it doesn't have enough speed, then it topples over. So remember that when you're riding your bike, that it wants to stay upright. It does not want to crash. It actually wants to continue going down the path it's going down. And the vast majority of the time, beginner riders who have things like target fixation, they lock up the front wheel during cornering or something like that. These are easily avoidable things as long as you're riding within your skill set and within your check. I have seen a somewhat disturbing trend in somewhat recent years in that a lot of people are now getting into motorcycling, and they are unfortunately starting out with an action camera bolted to their helmet. Now, I'm here to tell you that you do not need to have an action camera on your helmet when you're riding your bike. In fact, you will probably ride better and safer if you are thinking only about riding. So that would be a big piece of advice from me to you. Focus on your ride. Focus on your skill sets. I think a lot of people you see on social media, unfortunately, are riding for the clout. You see a lot of these crazy canyon warriors dragging elbows through the twisties and all these beautiful scenic places. You shouldn't emulate that, right? Keep that to the track and you'll probably be fine. And the other thing that you don't see is the vast majority of motorcyclists who do not create content are simply out here enjoying themselves on their bikes and loving life. There's a theory for internet content and for commenters as well, and for posting. It's a very small percentage of people actually contributing to content online. And it also is part of the new dead internet theory, is that a lot of online activity isn't even humans. It's just like bots doing silly stuff like promoting crazy right-wing agendas, or it's just like bots talking to bots. We now have an inundation of AI slop content, which is what I'm calling it. I'm seeing it in motorcycling all over the place. You know, these like obviously generated videos where people are just like, oh, top 10 cruiser motorcycles, and it's like just some random AI voice, and it's like, what are we even doing, you know? Like, what the hell is this content? And I think a lot of people are unfortunately consuming that stuff, and they don't even know that it's fake, right? Like, they don't even recognize the fact that these motorcycle content creators are not even content creators. They're probably just some massive network of corporations producing this slop. And so, you know, a lot of times when you see stuff online, I'm probably not the first one to tell you this, a lot of it's not real, you know? You see people with these crazy road rage incidents and these crazy things that they do. It's not real, guys. Like, I saw a video the other day where they expected me to believe that this dude with a McLaren drove back to his house, but he had a Kia following him, and he caught it all on his garage door video. He bolted in the house, he came back with an AR-15, and he defended his McLaren against the Kia people. Like, give me a break, dude. Like, give me a freaking break. I wasn't born yesterday. I think a lot of people, my generation, kind of 30 plus, 35, we grew up in the wild west of the internet, baby. We had E-Bombs World, we had Rotten.com. We got used to seeing some pretty crazy stuff online and recognizing what is real and what is not real. And unfortunately, a lot of the stuff you see is obviously not real. I hate to be the one to break it to you. And that also comes into effect with motorcycling content. The other angle of this that I'd like to talk about is flex offender culture. For better or for worse, people love seeing luxury products. They love seeing stuff that is high value, high dollar, that sort of thing. And a lot of motorcycle content creators, myself included, I dabbled in owning some expensive bikes. I had a H2 for a while. You know, we'll go out and buy some crazy expensive bike, right? But the thing is, we are buying it for content, you know? Like, the vast majority of people that buy motorcycles like this are buying it because they know that they can just simply get views out of it. And so if you see a content creator that has a Ducati V4R, a S1000RR, an H2, all this stuff, I'll just tell you one thing, debt is a hell of a drug. Having debt is a hell of a drug. And I've seen a lot of these guys, they have all these bikes, but it's like stacked away in some like tiny storage shed. And I'm like, what the hell is going on? You know, like, why do you have $200,000 worth of motorcycles in a storage shed? But then you just see this person riding around their town on some $40,000 bike, and you think, man, I want to be that guy, you know? There's really no reason to aspire to be the guy rolling around a $40,000 bike. I could have whatever bike I want, and I'm here on a Touareg 660, which I did get for free from the good people from Piaggio, because I am such a cheap bastard that they said, here, take one on us. For God's sake, be quiet, have a new bike.
This is a Kawasaki Ninja 500 SE, and it could be yours if you become a member over on yammynoob.co. I give away motorcycles all the time. I've given away over 53 bikes at this point, valued at well over $500,000. We've done top-of-the-line bikes, beginner bikes, crazy scramblers, all kinds of things in between, and this new Ninja 500 SE is the new bike we have to give away. Become a member over at yammynoob.co and rack up your chances to win this motorcycle. It could end up in your driveway.
I'm a little sad by what I see on social media with motorcycling, because ultimately it's giving us a bad name. I think the more people that see us doing crazy lane splitting activities and just going out and ripping motorcycles super fast, it's really not giving us a positive image online, right? Like, I think many people now, I always see this now, if I tell like a total normie, right, which is what I call people who don't know motorcycles, it's not, I'm not trying to be derisive towards them, it's just like someone, you know, this is a very niche subculture. If you're really into motorcycles, you're really into motorcycles, right? And you try to explain to someone, hey, I ride bikes. They're all of a sudden, they're kind of trying to be like, okay, is it cruisers, is it sport bikes? And then you tell them, oh, yeah, I like sport bikes more than cruisers. But I'm not really, I ride a scrambler, an adventure bike. But I'm like, but I don't have time to explain to you what that is, right? So I'll just say sport bikes. And then you'll hear people go, oh man, my buddy died on one of those things. You got to be careful on those bikes, man. And you're like, yeah, dude, I know. Like, you're preaching to the choir, man. You know, I wear all my gear, I ride safe. Don't worry about me, brother. I got it. But that's the rap that you're gonna get if the only mechanism with which you consume motorcycle content is crazy sensationalist stuff on mobile first, algorithmically determined and sometimes generated content about motorcycling. If that's the only place you see that stuff, that's going to be what you think of it, you know? And I'd like to think that's what we're doing here on Yami Noob. I am trying to give people a broader perspective with motorcycling. It is not just cruisers. It's not just sport bikes. It's not just some 23-year-old kid wearing no gear and shorts and a helmet on a Gixxer 1000 lane splitting between cars. Yes, that does exist, but I'd like to believe it's the vast minority of people. I see all walks of life on my Discord server. My Discord server. I see all kinds of people in the comments section, and a lot of those people are totally reasonable, good-natured people. I see a lot of older people. I see people in their 40s getting started riding. I see women getting riding. I see so many people that you would never think are getting started with motorcycling, and they're out here having fun with bikes, you know? And that's what I want to see more of, man. I want to see more people enjoying their bikes, having fun with it. And if you are trying to create content with your motorcycle, which I don't think there's anything wrong with that, right? I really don't. I think that if you want to go out, make some content, have some fun, there's nothing wrong with that. Just recognize that if you are a very entry-level rider, don't expect to do what I'm doing right now, which is just cruising along, chatting, being able to completely operate the machine within my comfort zone, and like my riding is completely second nature to me. I think that if you're gonna strap a helmet, if you're gonna strap a camera onto a helmet, you will be best served if you kind of just take it easy for a year or two, really learn and understand your bike, and then kind of go from there. I personally would not recommend a brand new rider strap a GoPro. You're not going to meaningfully learn anything from that footage anyways. You could maybe make the case that it's like a system for insurance or a dash cam of sorts, but there's other systems you could just mount to the bike that if that's really what you're trying to accomplish, which again, I understand for some people who live in high risk areas for crashes and that sort of thing. But boys, that's going to kind of wrap up the vlog. Real simple one today. We're just having some fun cruising around with the bike. What do you think about this topic? Do you think social media has warped our perspective on motorcycling? Do you think more people need to take a step back and recognize that motorcycling is actually a lot safer than it seems? I would like to think so. One point I wanted to make on the very tail end of this video is, I've talked about this before in many of our safety related videos. If you are in a position where you're just getting started motorcycling, you're gonna have some fun, all that stuff, there are very simple tactics you can take to keep yourself phenomenally safer than the people who die on a bike. I will give you 3 very easy examples you can take, steps you can take to keep safer on a bike. If you are worried about this, right? If you're seeing on social media that people die on motorcycles, there's crazy stuff happening, there's 3 things you can do that will like dramatically reduce your risk. Number 1, wear a helmet. Super simple, ECE rated, get some proper safety ratings on the helmet. You don't have to break the bank. $200 will get it done. $150 in a lot of cases gets it done. That's great. Number 2 is make sure you don't ride under the influence of drugs or alcohol. It sounds like it's pretty obvious, but you'd be amazed how many people go out and ride drunk or high. Don't do that. And number 3, try to make sure you're riding in the daytime. The vast majority of riders who have things happen to them, it happens at nighttime, poor visibility conditions. It's just simply more dangerous to ride at night. And I'll give you a bonus point too if you want to stay a little bit safer. Make sure you know how to trail brake and manage corners. The vast majority of motorcycle accidents are single vehicle accidents in which the rider did not contact any other vehicle and had nothing to do with any other vehicle. They just simply ran off the road. So learn how to trail brake, learn how to not target fixate, and you're going to have an awesome time riding a bike. Because riding a bike is fun. It's fun to stand up and feel the breeze in your britches and enjoy motorcycling. There's nothing quite like it, boys, and I highly recommend you do it. Don't let social media discourage you from getting started, because the vast majority of people who crash on these apps are just dummies and they were asking for it anyways. All right, old man rant over. I hope you appreciated the video. I'll catch you guys in the next one. See you later.
You've made it to the end of another Yami Noob video. Aren't you just a special little cookie? Aren't you just something so great? Aren't you just, look at you, you're just so freaking cute. Why don't you go ahead and click on the next video? Why don't you go ahead, listen, hey, I'm just kidding around. Hey, listen to me. Click on the video.